Hello, Internet. I'm Corione, your witch in residence here on YouTube. And I have kind of an interesting story for you today because I have a really deep connection to Silent Hill, believe it or not. And I'm going to tell you all about it while we learn more about what we can learn about Silent Hill. Now, before we get too deep into it, I'm just going to ask the normal like and subscribe, but actually, what I'd really like to talk to you about is my channel memberships. Starting at the lowest possible tier YouTube will allow, I have some great content for you. We've already started doing our look at other religions around the world. We started with Sikhism. It's a fantastic video. On top of that, you get to engage in the polls I put out to the community. Um, at higher levels, you get access to special live streams. And at the highest level, I even do spiritual counseling with you. So please consider it. It's a wonderful opportunity. And now, with that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's talk about what we can learn about Silent Hill. Now, the basic premise behind Silent Hill is a man goes looking for his family and enters a town that seemingly randomly the fog rolls in, a foghorn sounds, and undead and evil permeate the town. And this gentleman, who's just a father, who has no real, special forces training or anything, has to survive and try to find his family. Now, I will talk about the movie a little bit, but I also wanted to talk about the theme here. A lot of times we see videos and movies these days of bad fathers, right? Fathers who are, missing, who have abandoned their kids, who have abandoned their wife, who just go away. And I really don't understand that trend because, yes, there are some parents who are like that on the male and the female side of the equation. But there are a lot of good dads out there too. There are a lot of dads that have gone out of their way to break the strong silent protagonist type mold and become the father their kids need, whatever that need is. They're strong providers. They work hard for their family and their loved ones. And I think that's important. Now, let's get into a little bit of why this movie means so much to me. When I first started dating this one individual, they turned to me and they said, "Hey, I got us tickets to the premiere of Silent Hill from a friend." Now, I'm not really a slasher horror flick kind of guy. I'm not really into the grotesque. But I said, "Yeah, let's do this. It'll be fun. Whatever." So we go to the movie, and of course, there's a lot of jump scares. And at one point, they wind up running into members of the village, and they get massacred by this giant beast once the fog rolls in. And I hear my partner talking to somebody else, and they grab my shoulder and say, "Hey, you got to meet the person that got us the tickets." And I turn around, and there is the dude who just got massacred on screen. And I think that was the first time I've ever actually experienced the jump scare. So, movies can be thrilling and can be fun, but I think it's also important to talk about why certain types of horror movies hit us as hard as they do. And I think a lot of it has to do with, in this one specifically, some of us are willing to give up their lives for their loved ones, but they're not willing to give up on their loved ones. And I think that's an important thing to hold on to. And I think that's a really important thing to care about. The Buddhist tradition teaches that attachment of any kind is something to be avoided, right? That you can have fun with people and whatnot, but if you get too attached and you wind up building negative emotions because of your attachment, it's a very bad thing. I'm going to provide a counter argument for you. Nothing is more motivating than when someone you truly care about's life is on the line. Nothing will push you to become better about who you are than hearing somebody you love cry out in pain. When we first had my daughter, my wife and I remember thinking to myself, I would easily jump in front of a bus for my wife, gladly. But when I started getting to know my daughter and realizing just how much I love this little ball of anger, whining, and poop, I would gladly push anyone in front of that bus to save my daughter. And that's a very empowering feeling. Knowing how much you'd sacrifice, how much you'd be willing to do to take care of a person you care about. And in fact, um, recently, within the last year, I was visiting my daughter's school and she was attacked by another student. And I turned to give that kid a death stare and scared them out and said, like, you were the one who did this? In probably a pretty scary tone for a kid that size. And he said yes. And then I picked up my daughter. I took her to the office. And I basically said to the principal, what are you going to do about this kid? I never accused the kid directly. I never would have harmed another kid. But I did absolutely demand action from the school. And I got mean about it, and I got angry about it, and I had to think about why. And it's because I love my kids so much, right? If my wife were ever harmed in any reason, I don't think there's a person on the planet that would be safe from my wrath. I'd find a way, okay? This is important to remember when you are building a family. You are going to love these people and care about them and be willing to sacrifice yourself for them at a level that you never thought possible. There is a reason why women, can pick up a car and move it off of their kid. It's because they find a way, because they're so attached, because they care so much. And that care and that love can cause you to do some very, very incredible things. I often think about the parents that have lost kids, like myself, who then go on to political action to change laws so that what happened to their kid can't happen to another kid. Okay? Yes, anger can make you do stupid things, but it can also fuel you to do incredible good. And I know it's hard to think in that time. Like, if somebody hurts somebody you love, all you see is red. But it's important to stop and think about using that fuel, that anger, to get positive change out of the world. Okay? We can all do it. We can all choose to be violent, and we can all choose to work things out and cause great change. I encourage all of you to choose great change. I encourage all of you to demand peace and better from our politicians, okay? From those in power, okay? Demand they sit across a negotiation table and work out their differences and push them to do it. Make it clear that while you're not going to cause them harm, you won't vote for them. And you will vote for somebody who will do the change you want. And if you can't find that person, I encourage you to be that person. Okay? In Europe and North America, we have all seen a rise in individuals who have stood up, made their platform known, and other people, other citizens who feel the same way, supporting them to the point where they can run for office. Now, agree with their politics or not, the fact that as free citizens, we can force change should be incredibly empowering to all of you. And I encourage you all to do it. Okay? We don't have to be violent. We don't have to raise firearms up in the air or threaten people with guillotines. We can threaten them with joblessness. We can say, I will not work with someone who will choose violence over peace and over a negotiated agreement. Okay? We can choose to hold those people accountable inside justice systems, whether your own countries or a world court or The Hague even, in extreme cases. We can make those choices. We can decide that we've had enough of old men playing us like chess pieces. Okay? we can decide that we are going to take our governments back instead of corporations. Okay. And I encourage you to consider doing that. I encourage you to stand up and be free citizens and exercise your rights to freedom. Not to hurt others, but to make positive change happen. Okay? There's a show I really love, and it's pretty cheesy. It's called Bar Rescue. But there's a wonderful guy on it called John Tafford. And the first act of any of his shows is getting the owners of these bars angry enough to need change in their business. Okay? And it's not about anger in terms of violence. It's about anger in terms of making changes in their business and in their life to become better owners of the bar that they're running. That's what I encourage you guys to do. Okay? Fixing machines, fixing buildings, fixing the day-to-day mechanical stuff in life is easy. Fixing people is hard. And we have to fix the people before we can fix the systems. So let's do that, shall we? Let's fix the systems in our lives that we know are broken. Okay? Let's make them better, make them stronger. Let's encourage rich people to fight over putting in infrastructure like libraries again. Okay? Let's, get rich people to fight over who can start the first colony in space to, deal with overpopulation on Earth, right? Let's have them fight by making wonders again. Okay? Let's have, the regular people take pride in their work again because they know their work is going to mean something to successive generations. We can do that by channeling our anger in the things we are missing or have lost or have been threatened into positive action. That's what I take away from Silent Hill. Other than the fact that foghorns are scary as hell now. But take that away, okay? Build on that. Let your anger push you towards action for a better world, okay? What I normally do is I assign homework at the end of every one of these videos. And today in the comments, I would like you to put in something that frustrates you that you are working to change, okay? It can't just be what frustrates you. It has to also be something that you are willing to do to change in a positive light, okay? I would love for you guys to do that. I think if I can get you guys to do that, the person that affects change the most in the comments, I will directly contact and see if we can't get you a t-shirt from my online store. Okay? Guys, thank you very much for listening to me today. I really appreciate it. We've got one more scary movie this month, and then I think we're gonna focus on some interesting stuff for November. In the meantime, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.